What do I need this summer? This happens to me. This happens to me every year because of how I'm wired. My instant answer is adventure. Let's go. Woo woo. Let's backpack. Let's canoe. Let's whitewater raft. Come on, let's go do stuff. What does my soul need this summer? It needs to exhale. Welcome back, everybody, to the Wild at Heart podcast here in the week of May 20. And for those of you joining by video, you already noticed that the studio is full this week. Stacey, my wife, and Stacey Burton, our wonderful, wonderful director of women's ministry here at the Wild at Heart, are joining us this week. And it's really good. It's been a while since you've been in the studio. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
Not
that I'm tired of you, Alan, but
we needed more beauty in the studio.
Some fresh blood.
We needed some fresh insight, fresh perspective.
Let us help you.
For this 2-part series we're about to do. So, I mean, you've seen the title of the podcast, and that's not a spoiler alert here, but this, we're going to talk a little bit about summer, soul care, what that looks like, to be attentive to what your soul needs in the seasons. Before we jump into anything, I just want to ask you, so how are you feeling about the approach of summer?
It cannot come soon enough.
Okay.
Yeah. The leaves are blooming on the trees, and it's just like one excitement after another. It's so wonderful.
I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So apologies to our friends in the Southern Hemisphere. We recognize that you are headed into your winter as we are talking about making good use of our summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. But all of this will be equally applicable, actually, because this is really about soul care. It's about attentiveness and rhythm and cadence and things that we do and mistakes that we've made over time, learning about how to make use of restoration whenever we get it, whenever it can come. Okay. So speaking of restoration, we build a pause every week into the podcast, and sometimes also at the end, to just let everybody have a moment of peace and to let it all go. So let's take our pause before we continue. So Father, Jesus, Holy Spirit, what am I carrying right now? What do I need to let go of this week, this day, this moment, in order to be with you and to come back to my own soul? What do I need to release and to lay down right now, God? Let's take a few moments, friends. Release it all. Breath of God, breathe into my soul. Breath of God, breathe into these spaces that I'm opening up to you by laying things down. You can't save the world, friends. You can't even carry it. And so as we lay these things down, come and fill the gaps, God. Come and fill these spaces and meet us in this week's podcast. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, so as I've said, this is our annual How to Make Best Use of Your Summer podcast. And we thought it'd be really good to have women in here as well so we can talk and share stories and conversations. And again, recognizing that not everybody's heading into summer right now, or not everybody can get the summer that they want right now. So it's really about attentiveness, soul care, pace of life, those kinds of, the themes of this will be broadly helpful. So before we jump into how you're thinking about summer and kind of how to care for the soul, I want to ask you first, how's your spring?
It's been chaotic. And I think that's part of why summer can't come soon enough. I don't know what it necessarily is about summer where it feels like maybe we can enter into more rest. But yeah, it's just been spring has been so full. And I heard around New Year's someone say that it's not fair to put resolutions on yourself like January 1st.
Yes.
Because we're still like in survival winter mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had it in my mind to, once the world starts awakening again, the flowers start blooming and the leaves start getting on the trees, like that's a natural rhythm to start, okay, stepping more into what do I want? Like, how can I renew myself?
Yes.
It's a more natural rhythm. So it's been crazy, but also I've been highly aware of the motivation that's awakening. The sun is up earlier. It's easier to get up
Yes.
and get outside. So.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Oh, I love it when the sun is finally up early in the morning.
Yes.
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It changes everything.
It does. It does. Sunlight filling the living room as I'm praying in the early morning. I love that. So chaotic, like for example.
Oh, I think life as a whole, the work-life balance, there's just been a lot. And I'm an empty nester this year. I thought things would settle in, but it's just been filled with a lot of everything.
Nature abhors a vacuum. You think you can create some space, right? And it's
I was like,
amazing.
all this time for Eric and me. And
Yes. Yeah.
maybe next week.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How's your spring?
My spring. Manic. My spring's been manic. And I'm describing the weather. So,
Wow.
you know, in Colorado, it's spring. It's gone again. It's spring. It's back. It's gone again. It's spring. It's gone again. So like this, there's sunshine. A snowstorm is coming. The season itself has been very full. It has been very full with very good things. But I think our winter, spring is like 6 months long.
Yes.
And the wrestling match between winter and spring that happens.
Big tease.
So it's a tease. You can't plant anything until about May 15th. I'm getting pictures from people back east.
Oh, I know.
It's like, look at my rhododendrons. Look at, I'm like, they're beautiful. So that, like, it's kind of tough on my soul because I'm really ready. And then the snow comes. But I like snow. I have to talk myself into it. No, this is good. Pretend like it's Christmas and you like snow. And anyway, the back and forthness of it. And it has been a very full season, as it is right now, particularly the next couple of weeks. So.
Oh my gosh. We had a friend over for dinner last night. And as you do, you're catching up. And he asked Stace, so what how's life and what's ahead? What's coming for you guys? To listen to you describe your life. I'm like, oh my gosh, Stace is busier than I am right now.
I won, apparently, in the conversation.
She won. She definitely won oh boy.
And good things, but whoa. Schedule it, plan it, do it, all that stuff. So it's been very full.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Spring for me, I mean, it went by in the blink of an eye. I'm really aware of how fast time seems to be moving.
I'm just going to alert you that summer doesn't start till June 22nd.
Okay. I've got a little more.
Whoa. Unfair.
Yeah.
There's a flag.
But our rhythm is changing too in our household. We're empty nesters for the first time. And Kelly has been a stay-at-home mom, but she now has a part-time job where she's helping people with therapy women who have gone through cancer and other illnesses. And it's a beautiful place she's working at, but it changes the whole rhythm up of our day in the evenings because we're both coming home. And we're used to, she would have dinner ready for the kids and us. And now we're trying to figure out what we're going to do in the evening because we're both coming in
exhausted
and full days. And that's never happened for more than 20 years while we had kids. So we're in a new rhythm this spring, and it's going really fast as well. And we're both just feeling like summer is a much needed antidote to the first half of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Antidote. That's a good word.
Yeah. How about you, John?
So here's the idea of a podcast that is designed around soul care, rhythm, pace. We are very, very intentional people. This community here, it's some of the most intentional people I know.
Truly.
To fight the world and the way that it gets you into drama or whips you into upset about politics or gets you fearful. I guess this is a very attentive group of people, knowing that the soul needs care, the soul needs protection, and pace of life. You know, the Dallas Willard's thing about you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. We really do that, and we sit down as a team and we plan out our year and we look at our calendar. And we were actually in a planning time recently, and we were doing some listening prayer as a team. And God said, slow down, slow it all down, because some exciting international opportunities were coming up, the global reach of what we're doing.
Yes.
And it was like, let's go, woo-hoo. You know, so we do all this. I needed to say that before I answered the question. Like, we do all this very intentionally. I am shocked at how busy and full the spring has been.
Mm-hmm.
Just shocked by it. Because these little projects and things pop up, and Stacey's famous line in our house is, everything's possible in 3 months. You know, if it's out there.
Sure, I can do it.
Exactly. That's the deception. If it's far enough out there, you go, oh, sure, we can fit that in.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're going to do that audio book, or yeah, we're going to make that film. Or, yeah, we can fit that in. That meeting that people want, sure. And then you get there and you go, oh my gosh. Because what I didn't account for, and I think this is helpful as people are just kind of thinking about their life, whether it's summer or winter, you know, whatever you're entering into, is what you don't leave margin for are the crises.
Right. The unexpected things that always come.
Nobody leaves margin for crises. And so if you fill your schedule, or if somebody else is filling your schedule for you, right, at work or, you know, at school or what have you, and you have absolutely no margin, then, you know, you get sick and you need the margin. Somebody you love gets sick and you need the margin. The crisis comes up, right? And so my spring has been very full. My string continues, by the way, to be very, very full. And I'm just aware of, it's so easy to say yes when it's down the road. So I said yes to a number of things that I thought I could fit into May, right? That now I'm looking at going, holy cow. I mean, okay, so what I want to do is I'm looking towards summer, and Stacey and I will talk a little bit about, normally we have some room in the summer. There's a week here, there's a week there, there's some room.
Yes.
And school's out, so you're not doing carpool and things like that. I'm even looking at this summer and going, ruh-roh.
Yeah.
We already said yes to a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think I'm aware that I want to plan for soul care. I want to plan for restoration. How in the world am I going to do that this summer? Which is what this podcast is about. We want people to be thinking about, what is the pace of my life? How am I planning for restoration?
Yes.
Because you literally have to put it on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to write it down. It's a thing.
If you don't block it out, if you don't plan for it,
It flies by.
you know, the little gremlins just eat it up,
Crisis.
right?
That's really helpful what you said. You don't plan. You don't make room for the crisis. Because I'm a list person. I love my lists. And it's always thwarted by some sort of crisis that throws it all off.
Oh, now you can add crisis to your list.
I can. I won't. But I'll stop feeling shame and frustration when I don't get my list done.
Yes.
Like,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. We literally add it to the list
Yeah.
and say, and this week I am budgeting for drama, crisis, something,
Yeah.
right?
Wish I had done that yesterday. I ended up spending unexpectedly 2.5 hours with the electric company because of a bill that was like 6 times higher than it was supposed to be. It was an error, but I was on hold for an hour before I even spoke to
Oh
it.
my goodness.
Well,
What?
I mean, it's just an example of
Yes.
you never wake up a week ahead of time budgeting for that
Right.
in
Yes.
a day,
Yes.
but it dominoes
Mhm.
into the whole day. And so part of what both of you are saying that's helping me is we can't know what the crisis will be, but we can leave an abundance as much as possible
Yeah.
of white space in our week where it's unfilled and unknown. And it's not a lack of anything. It will be filled
It
with
will.
something good or unexpected.
That's really good.
But if you, like you said, if you just assume every day needs to have enough in it to fill it, you'll always be overfull
Mhm.
and,
Right.
and overwhelmed.
Yeah. Jettisoning things that, okay,
Yes.
can't, woo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we could literally land the plane with this one big idea. We hadn't even planned on
Right.
Yeah.
talking about that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it surfaced in the conversation. We could land with this one idea
Mhm.
that you must recapture margin.
Yes.
And guys, we're talking about a couple hours.
Yeah.
I know,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, we're not saying,
it's a
oh, you've
big
got
thing.
weeks off here and months off there. Nobody gets that. But to rebuild margin,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the unexpected
things
comes, it just does.
Mhm.
The phone call, the emergency text, hey, can you help? Can we talk? Can we?
And if it doesn't happen, woohoo!
Right.
Yes.
I've got space. Yeah.
Those 4 hours that you protected on that
Right.
Wednesday
Yeah.
evening,
Yeah.
well, then they're yours,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah, for replenishment, renewal, care of the soul. Okay, so the reason I asked you about how was your spring was to say now, so given that, as you tune into your soul, as you just kind of become aware, hello, soul. Sorry, my apologies. What do you need?
Apologies. It's been a long winter.
Well, I've neglected you. I've driven you like a team of horses, you know.
Mhm.
Okay, so as you tune into your soul, and as our listeners tune into their souls, what do you need? What, as you look towards, and the reason that we grab this every year towards summer is that summer does tend to be a time, school tends to be out. I understand, not always, and there's activities and stuff, and the world in the Northern Hemisphere, the world kind of recognizes, hey, it's time for barbecues. It's time to go to the public pool. It's,
There's so much more daylight. The days are longer.
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah. And
So you've got that.
sitting on the porch
Yes.
is much more enjoyable. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're just recognizing summer tends to be a time where you have permission. There's like this cultural permission to take care of your soul. So people will ask, hey, what are you doing this summer? You got any plans? Are you going to take vacation? That kind of thing. So that's why we do this every year. There's sort of a cultural assumption that there's a little bit of breathing room. The weather's nicer. Hopefully you have a little margin. What do you need? I'm just curious how you would raw, unedited. What does your soul need?
And thinking about this podcast and just turning my heart towards it, I named summer the big exhale.
Mm.
Nice.
Because I just, in tuning into my own body, just
Yeah.
the bracedness of it, and just even how you're braced in cold versus how you feel out in the warmth is different. Something that was interesting to me as well as we did the pause at the beginning of this podcast. What do I need to release? And I was surprised that it was fear and pressure. And I need to take that off of my summer.
Oh, wow.
Just, like a fear that I'm going to waste it, fear that I'm not going to get, what I need.
Mm.
And then the pressure to make it happen. Just that. What I need is a big sigh and settling in. And yes, making the room for the simple things of after dinner, sitting on that porch, listening to crickets. That's life-giving to me.
The exhale thing, that and taking fear and pressure off, that's a really big idea because so many people that I know have already been talking to about their plans. Hey, we're going to, we're doing this road trip and me and my friends, we're going to go do this thing. And people will say things in the midst of those conversations like, I really need this week to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pray this week is protected.
And you're already set up for failure, right? Because the fear and pressure are already on. Can we just say 1 week is not going to address the 51 weeks that you've been flogging the horse, right?
That's why you have to build in the margin and everything else.
Yeah. So taking fear and pressure off the summer just to begin with.
That's nice.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's what I need is to see summer is a long game, meaning summer is several months.
There you go.
It's not the 1 week, flashy. When people say, what are you doing this summer? It almost feels like we all need something in our back pocket to pull out, like the Caribbean or, oh man, we're going fill in the blank, wherever.
Got this great Airbnb at the lake. Yeah.
Right. And the reality is that's not your summer. That's a couple of days that are probably a lot of joy, but a lot of money, a lot of planning, a lot of bandwidth that causes tension and stress and expectations, which great, like do that week or do those 2 weeks, but that's not your summer. That's a blip. And so, I feel like for me, God is saying, look at the long game. It's not a day. It's not a week in June or July. It's several months. And now how can you pace your summer where there's joy and just restoration throughout on the ordinary days, on the empty, calendar days where there's nothing scheduled, as well as the beach or wherever else you're going. And that feels like the pressure's off for me. Like I can exhale, Stacey, to your, earlier comment. Like when I think of it that way, pressure's off, and I look forward to it.
Man, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, Ellen.
Play the long game.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, you guys are giving such nuggets already. I was going to ask you for this for the wrap up. Okay. So give me those nuggets that we've already got 2 on the table right now, which is take fear and pressure off, because that's not going to help, and play the long game. Don't put it all on. If you get you get a week off, some people get 2, maybe more. Some people have nothing.
Right.
Like you can't put it on that. No. Yeah. So given your spring, what does your soul need?
The immediate answer is rest.
Yeah.
And I do not do soul care well. And I think it's just how I grew up is you earn your rest, but the rest is never earned. And I think I am through decades of healing, but God has very recently brought me into even a new place where I think I'm being set up to be able to own rest and soul care a little more. Now, we don't have big plans this summer. We rarely do, have vacations. We live in Colorado, and typically that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But my mind does go to, what do I do? What do I do? How do I rest? What's the checklist for soul care?
Yes.
You talked about this recently.
Yeah.
I need the steps.
Yes.
All that to say, thinking about summer the past few weeks, I think my new approach, it's everything we've all said. What are my expectations? And I realize another thing that can thwart it is comparison. Well, you're doing this. Should I be going on vacation? Because that's what summer is.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my approach, thinking through this these upcoming wonderful months is, what do I love about summer?
Mm-hmm.
And it is waking up to the quiet and the stillness, waking up early. And I've already started it. Like the sun coming up earlier has allowed me to get up and start slogging, otherwise known as jogging or running.
I was going to ask you what that
Yeah,
was.
exactly. But yeah, just what do I love about summer? I love watering plants. That means I have to plant something. I love learning new things, space to maybe try something new.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do I love about summer? And maybe I can adjust my summer to that as, my big goal, let God lead my day.
Ooh, there you go.
Like waking up, enjoying the quiet and the coffee is fairly easy. After an hour, I start getting restless. So
yeah.
God, what's next?
Yep. That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Schlogging. I like that.
I guess that's how I'm coming in, John.
Well-
Slogging.
Well, there's just a kindness. If you name it, I'm not going out for a run.
Yeah.
I'm going out to schlog.
I'm going out. And it is where I meet God. And in the quiet of the morning, it doesn't get any better for me than that.
Right.
And to have the pace that he sets.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm thinking of our Southern Hemisphere friends right now. So gang, I know you might be in a period of mourning. Some people love winter. Many people love summer. They're coming out of their summer. They're in their fall. So what do you need to remember, friends? Like, let's hang on to the lessons of summer, right? As we go into fall, winter, and the summer hemisphere, don't just stomp on the accelerator, even though the world is asking you to. Soul care is a annual practice, right? And there are moments, that there are dips, holidays, and maybe there's some break around, Christmas time or school outbreaks, things like that. But it's a 12-month-a-year practice to be attentive to the condition of your soul and what you need.
John, one thing, can I add on that?
Yes.
Your naming is, regardless of what hemisphere you're in, like you're calling out in us all, be aware of the season because seasons change, whether you're going from spring to summer or summer to fall or, and I think in our modern world with air conditioning and heating, and we live most of our lives, as you've mentioned in an earlier book, like 90% of most people's lives are lived
Indoors
in an artificial environment.
Yep.
And what you're calling out is, in a good way, is be aware of like a season is changing. How will you change for that season, or how will you enter in instead of like our modern push, just every day is just the next day, and
until it's a holiday.
Or until we look up and go, where did the year go?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's
so
really
good.
good. So, first off, another little nugget of help, maybe. We have a big year calendar inside the door of our pantry. And it's color coded. So we put, so-and-so's coming for a visit.
Yeah.
There's a mission that we're on. We're going to Australia to do a thing. We're going to Ireland to do a thing. We've got something here in Colorado. Finish edits on the book, right? So the big stuff is on there, but play is also on there. We try, and it's color coded. So mission-oriented things typically are yellow or orange, right? It's like it's a heads-up color. And then all the play things are in green.
Nice.
And it's really helpful to have it to look at on a broad thing, because when I pick up my phone and look at my calendar,
It's hard to see it.
For some reason, it doesn't give me perspective.
Yeah.
I noticed that you have an analog calendar. You still have a paper calendar.
I love those.
I do. And it's monthly, and I code by color as well.
Yeah.
For meetings and for joy. And there's something about the tangible, physical piece of paper.
Yes.
Not another reason to stare at a screen.
Yes.
To go, what is the rhythm of my week and my month? And I love the yearly one, the annual one that you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll also sometimes print out
Yes, the month or two.
Yeah, the month
Yeah.
or two, but particularly whatever summer looks like. So if it's
Mhm.
June, July, August, like I'll print those out and look at them on the table, and Stacey and I'll start mapping things out and go, well, we're committed to this and we're committed to that. So yeah, it's helpful. It's helpful to color code it because it kind of goes, whoa, there is a lot of mission or need or responsibility.
Right. Like right now, there's not a lot of green
Right.
going on.
Exactly.
So just looking at it and saying, okay, well, when can we do a weekend?
Yes.
Like we can just,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so for us, this is, well, can we say it's the summer of the babies? Is that all right
Yes,
to say
it's
that?
Summer of the Babies. It's
So,
really awesome.
I don't want
We
to
got
spill
babies
our
coming.
children's personal lives onto our podcast,
Nonetheless.
but we have a couple of grandchildren coming, and that changes everything
Yeah.
because help is needed, right? And whether it's grocery runs or taking care of the other little ones,
Or
because
perhaps holding a baby and rocking in a chair so that they can nap. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of goodness in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So we're looking at it, we're going, ruh-roh, weeks need to be budgeted for, we're just here to help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are pink on the calendar.
Oh, not blue.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't an indication.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah, gender. It was more, this is a special time.
Mm,
Don't fill this with a bunch of other stuff. You're going to be needed.
yes.
But it's not rest.
Right.
So now we're looking at, okay, so we have to think about this summer differently than the others. What do I need this summer? This happens to me every year because of how I'm wired. My instant answer is adventure. Let's go. Woo woo. Let's backpack. Let's canoe. Let's whitewater raft. Come on, let's go do stuff. What does my soul need this summer? It needs to exhale.
Yeah.
Actually, it needs to exhale. And even this weekend, I was gonna try and get out for a couple days this weekend. But as you were saying, Alan, but you have to prep for that. And then there's the drive, into the mountains and that kind of thing. And I looked at the weather, and the weather was going to be bad. And I looked at having to get back quickly for an obligation that I'm committed to. And I went, you know what? I want the adventure. I'm going to come back exhausted.
Mm.
And I don't need more exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
So as hard as it is to let go of the adventure, I have to be wise enough to go, what does my soul need? My soul needs to exhale. My soul needs rest. My soul simply needs margin.
Yeah.
I'm just not asking it to do stuff,
Yes.
right?
That really is learned wisdom because
Yes. Yeah.
I remember our first vacation where we charged everything, and I
Put everything on a credit card.
everything on a credit card. It just took about 15 years to pay that puppy off, but it was just a weekend away. I think it was 4 days. I was pregnant with Samuel, but we didn't know about margin. So when we came home, it was just boom, run. So I mean, it's not like that was the only time we've done that,
Yes.
but we have learned
Yes.
to
Yes.
come back a day or two early, just budget in that time.
Yes.
Because if it is a trip, maybe it's an incredible trip you've been longing for your whole life, and you're spending it on the move and seeing stuff, and it's so cool. But when you come back, you need a couple days.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it feels like such the common internal conflict of this is the time I have.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make the most of it. Kind
Yeah.
of where we started earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not really asking what do I actually need. It's just let's make it happen.
Yes.
So that it makes sense.
Yes.
coming
And then
back
we
into
take it
that.
right up to Sunday night
Yes.
or wherever,
Yep.
and we get home, and then work is still there Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
or
you're,
more work because you were gone.
Right.
yeah. So there's another little nugget,
Margin.
Yeah.
transitional moments.
There you go.
Transitional
Yeah.
moments. If you're going away for a big trip, and it is something you've been looking forward to for a long time, and you have used up all your points on your airline miles or whatever to get there, That's wonderful. I encourage people to do that.
Mhm.
Dream about those kinds of things. Save for those trips. They can build memories for a lifetime. Yes, that's good. Come back on Saturday.
Yes.
I know it feels counterintuitive. It's like, no, we need one more day in Paris. Come back on Saturday because you need the transition.
Yeah.
Your soul needs the transition to go from joy back into perform,
Yeah.
right? Come through, deliver.
Yeah.
So, John, on the heels of margin on the return, I know something I often struggle with is the reentry. Do you have counsel for? It can feel so disappointing.
Say more about reentry and why it's hard.
For vacations in particular, you save and you look for, everyone says part of it's just the anticipation of it all.
75% of the joy, it's measured.
Yeah.
Is
And
the
then
anticipation.
Yeah. You come back and you're behind on work and the inbox
And it's over.
And maybe Christmas is what I have look forward to next. But
Yep.
just margin for caring for your heart, I guess.
How do you shepherd your heart in the midst of that?
How do you shepherd your heart in the midst of that?
You have a line that we have to say to ourselves at the end of every summer or at the end of every trip. Do you know where I'm headed?
A great good is coming.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We have to remind ourselves good is still coming. There is still goodness ahead.
Yes. Yeah. That line from George MacDonald's Fantastes.
Yeah.
That I really need God to catch my heart. Because I do not like endings at all.
Yep.
And especially if it's a gathering or a sweet time with family that I've been looking forward to. It's just, in fact, Samuel, our oldest, we had some time together and it was over. And it was only a few days, but it was over. And he hugged me goodbye and he whispered into my ear, "A great good is coming to thee."
Wow.
And I knew. I knew. Okay, that's actually always true.
Yeah.
I may not know what it is, but I'm going to lean into you, God, that you who have been faithful and you are still the giver of all good gifts, though I don't know what they are, I'm going to trust you.
Yeah. Love that.
Oh, that's really good.
That's huge.
I think you just have to accommodate for exhaustion.
Right.
You just know, I'm going to be really tired this week, and that's okay. I'm not failing because I'm tired. I might need to go to bed earlier. This is your week of transition back as you hit the world and work and school and all
mercy, grace.
Mercy, grace. Yeah. And I'm remembering when Stacey and I were part of a really lovely community when we lived on the East Coast, and moving back to the West Coast years and years ago was very, very hard. It was a very, very difficult loss for us. And I remember as we were leaving, our friends asked us, "What are you looking forward to?" And it just exposed, I got nothing. And he's like, "That's not a good thing for the soul. You have to have something you're looking forward to." So we'll even do this as we're coming out of summer or a trip or a family gathering or something we've enjoyed and been looking forward to. As we're coming out of it, we will ask each other, we will start naming for one another, "Hey, you know what? Your birthday's in 3 months. I'm really looking forward to that."
Oh, I love that.
We'll to help catch
Yeah, that's good.
the heart.
It's helpful.
Is that the direction that you were asking? Is that what you were?
Yeah.
There's so much more. We actually, this is sort of like introduction. This is prologue. There's a lot more that we want to cover by way of wisdom and counsel and mistakes that we've made, and confess some of those. We'll get to those in part 2 next week. I think what would be really good to do is we've begun to build a pause into the end of the podcast as well, to just let ourselves, let our listeners take a moment now, friends, take a moment and just let your soul speak. Maybe it's talking to you about weariness. Maybe it's talking to you about Stacey's fear and pressure warning. Maybe your soul is in need of something to look forward to hope for. So let's just take a moment before you blast on into the rest of your day. We're going to use this pause. Listen to your soul. What do you need?